genuine choice. No pretense, no hidden schemes. Just sports passion fueling dreams. From the field to the court, every play that's made. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up, hear the honest sound. Unfiltered sports all year round. Discussions pure, no masquerade. Real takes over fake debates. Turn it up. Over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates. Real takes over fake debates.
And we are live. Sbtalksports and Sean Webb, real takes over fake debates. It is Friday, Sean. How you doing today, brother? How you feeling?
Doing good, SB. How you doing?
It's Friday. Getting prepared for the little ones' birthday, man. So, you got a long weekend ahead of me. But besides that, everything's good. Cannot complain at all, man. It's a lot of things going on in the sports world today. We gotta it seems like LeBron James is always in the news. There's always some drama going on. He say, she say things going on. The Colorado Buffalo got a lot of fans up in arms about the two players' jersey they're retiring. Aaron Rodgers needs to make up his mind, Sean. And Luka Doncic has finally came out about what happened that night he was traded. And it's NBA playoff time. We got a lot of NBA predictions. And also we got to talk about a boxer who must need to be stopped in an organization that needs to be stopped. But we got to go at the top of the show. Colorado Buffaloes are set to retire Travis Hunter, number 12, and Shedeur Sanders, number 2, this Saturday. And these guys literally just left the college. They ain't like they've been gone for years. They ain't even drafted to another NFL team. Technically, they still Colorado Buffaloes until Thursday, the 24th Thursday. Sean, what was your reaction when you first heard the news of this? And then also, do you agree or disagree? Because there's a lot of people got a lot to say about this.
So a couple of things, SB, for me. I understand wanting to honor players and things like that. I'm not one to say, they shouldn't honor players and things of that nature. You want to honor players. The first thing I have to ask, though, is why the rush? These guys literally just finished playing for you less than 3 months ago. So why the rush? I'll say less than 4 months ago. So why the rush? That's the first thing. The second thing I would ask is, and I think the bigger concern is there seems to be, from my perspective, a tone deafness from Dion, who is generally the public speaking face for Colorado football, even though they have an AD and things of that nature. He's the public, yeah. I mean, he's the mouthpiece for the program. His response, which I don't know if we're going to play the video or not, but his response when asked about it was a little off-putting for me. Because, again, it's someone who has, had the honor of having, his jersey retired and being honored by, certain franchises and things of that nature. I think it is a little telling that he didn't seem to get why there was a backlash, particularly because he said if Shedeur's last name wasn't Sanders, this wouldn't be an issue. Well, his last name could be Wilson, and it'd still be an issue because, again, for someone like Dion, who is very high on standards, what is the standard of excellence that says this is why we're retiring your number? And you're not just retiring a number, you're retiring a number in a program that existed quiet as kept before you even came.
Yeah. Did they get them above water because there was a program dead in the water? I 100% agree and understand. And I do got the video on deck too. I'll play it after you finish.
Yeah. So, well, no, go ahead and play it now, man. Go ahead and play it.
Okay, come on, let me load it up. Because he did bring up like the point of his last day when like Sanders and saying it like that. But I'm like, ain't that's kind of like the point of what people like are saying they had a problem with because they figured like he didn't do enough. But let's see what Deion had to say.
Talk about this too long. I'm gonna just talk briefly and let it go. We talk about Shedeur. We ain't talking about nobody else. But his last name was Sanders. We wouldn't have this discussion. The only reason we were having this discussion is his last name Sanders. Okay, that's it. It's been so many things accomplished at this university expeditiously. It's been unbelievable, and I think we should be appreciative. We should be thankful. We have a room full of wonderful people that covers us, and I don't know if you all were in this room 2-3 years ago. Some of them. Some. I mean, very few. Okay, but I mean, it's a new day. We're doing things a little different. Take the training table. I think the food is better. Nobody said nothing about that. It's a whole lot of things that are brighter and they're better because someone stands on business and makes it that way. And he's resilient when it comes to it being that way because everything we do is to improve everything for us. I think it was hot in here one time. I said, let's turn the darn air conditioner overnight on our night game, right? The next time we came in, what happened? It's cool. I think about those details because it don't just benefit me, it benefits what? All of us. So if all of us are happy, all of us should be happy. I'm not going to be critical of you because I didn't get what I want. I don't get down like that. And the root to all of it is personal. Sometimes we got to get out the way, man, and just be thankful for our people, others.
All right, Sean, that was Deion talking about. Honestly, only thing I was just like, I rock with Deion heavy. And I love Coach Prime heavy. I'm there, I ain't gonna deny that. I rock with Coach Prime, and I think Coach Prime doing a great job. But that was top tier, bouncing away from the question. He didn't answer. It said nothing about nothing. I'm calling a spade a spade. That was super evasive of what was the question is. It's like he brought up the point and say it ain't even about Travis. I understand everybody saying Travis is cool to get his jersey retired, which I agree. He's the Heisman winner. Still a little quick. Like, bro, they ain't even in the league yet. Let them do their thing before that. But the main person they was talking about first was Shedeur. He said, all right, let's address the elephant in the room about Shedeur. But he's really saying this because it's about his last name. And then proceeds to what I was going to think where he could have took it to a point to say, because people don't realize that Shedeur, if not broke, like all the passing records and touchdown records at like Colorado, you could bring at least talk about something like that to be like, hey, look, this is the reason why I think his jersey should be retired. He didn't broke a lot of records here. He didn't revamp the program. He helped jumpstart the program that's going to take the program to another level to get to the bowl games, the national championship games, because they set the foundation. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, hey, when you want the AC on, the AC was on because Shedeur, I don't want to hear that. That's not a legit reason to tell us why you're retiring Shedeur's jersey. I just made a quick better case than what Pram said, and it's not about his last name. It's not about his last name at all, because like you said, he could have been Hunter, he could have been Shedeur Brown, he could have been Shedeur Barnes, he could have been Shedeur Jackson. They talking about the play of what he has done, and then you also got to look at, yes, Colorado as a program has been dead in the water for a while, but they did have players of the yesteryear who have done more than what a Shedeur has done. At quarterback, at that, their jersey's not retired. So I think if you was going to, this is my honest opinion, if you was going to set the stepping stone for these things to happen, Travis and Shedeur got more than enough time to get their jersey retired. They're not even in the NFL yet. Show love to the other guys first. then go back and be like, hey, Shedeur, here your jersey retired. Travis Hunter, here's your jersey retired. Because I think for what they did for the program alone, I think both of those guys should get their jersey retired. And they did stuff on the field enough where it's justified a little bit. The only thing Shedeur didn't do was win. But just as much as Travis didn't win either. So Shedeur broke a lot of records that and helped turn the program around. That's a check in the box for me. Travis Hunter won a Heisman. Did a lot of things that program never seen done before. I think that's worth getting it done. But what was your reaction to what Coach Prime said, Sean?
Yeah, again, just a massive deflection in my opinion. There was more that he said in another video I saw when he talked about, I guess kind of from his perspective, and I'm paraphrasing, but that he's not responsible for what happened before he got to Colorado. He's only focused on what they've done these last 2 years. You're a part of a program. You're a part of a program. You're a part of the history of that program. From my perspective, I think there does need to be at least some recognition of that history, to your point, SB, because again, Cordell Stewart doesn't have his jersey retired. Michael Westbrook doesn't have his jersey retired. Eric Bieniemy doesn't have his jersey retired. So, and those are just to name a couple. There's more, I'm sure, that should be in that conversation. So to your point, it's, let's make sure we're honoring those who have waited for that potential honor for, in a lot of these cases, those guys were at Colorado 30 years ago. So why not honor them and then say, okay, hey, we want to honor Travis, we want to honor Shedeur. The other thing too, and I think people have to realize this, you can take a number out of circulation without retiring it.
Agreed.
Right. You can do so. If you say, hey, we're going to pull 2 and 12 out of the rotation, that's fine. Nobody's going to wear 2 and 12. And then eventually, if you decide, hey, we want to retire him, or say, hey, we're going to put him back in the rotation, that's fine too. But again, for me, it just seems to be a bit of tone deafness from Prime here, Coach Prime here. And again, you rock with him. I support him, generally speaking, but it just feels like this is a little bit of, this is a little daddy ball to me at the end of the day. And whether people will agree with me on that, I don't really care. I've seen daddy ball. I've witnessed daddy ball. This screams of daddy ball to me. And again, by not addressing the issue, further permeates the idea that this is daddy ball at the end of the day. And, we haven't really talked about Shedeur much in terms of his draft prospects and things of that nature. But one of the big questions about Shedeur is the only coach he's played for since high school
was his dad.
Is his dad. So, I think, again, there's got to be some level of at least recognition of that when you're talking about this particular honor for Shedeur. And this is not a slight to Shedeur. Nobody hates Shedeur. He seems to be, by all accounts, a really good young man.
Yes.
But this is about standards, and what is the standard for this particular honor, particularly from a coach who is very big on standards.
Yep.
So again, that's where I push back against what he's saying, and that's all I have on that, SB.
It's a weird situation, and because then we got to move on. I just think Coach Prime himself could have did a better job answering that, and I just think, like, I get it. You've been dealing with a lot of hate. People always have something to say, but everything ain't just because you were Sanders, and that's why that happened. Because this situation, people wasn't even questioning it because he's your son. People was legitly questioning on a body of work, and I was like, the first thing I thought, I was like, man, I know Shedeur broke a lot of records here, so I'm like, you could at least said that. Like, I know y'all. Once I heard him first say, like, we just finna address the elephant in the room, I was like, oh yeah, Prime finna drop facts. Oh, okay. look, we ain't got a bowl game, but Shedeur did this, and that. I think he's a great player because of that. Something football related. That's all I want to see. But comment down below, let me know what you guys think about. Does Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders deserve to get their jersey retired? Okay, we got to go into Aaron Rodgers real quick because Aaron Rodgers is done, Sean. I'm going to just call it how it is. Aaron Rodgers is done because if you think you after the terrible year that you had, and you think the multitude of opportunities are still just going to be there for you, it's not going to happen. Professional sports is always going to be a young man's game, no matter what. Now, do you have those 1 out of a million guys who still great at an old age, like the LeBron James, the Tom Brady's, the Alex Ovechkins? You know, people like that is rare. Aaron Rodgers has not made a decision yet, and it seemed like the Steelers wanted him to be the quarterback. So Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show, and he pretty much said he has been upfront about what's going on with teams he has talked to. He said retirement could still be a possibility, but right now, my focus will be on my personal life, and that's what I have told coaches. What are you talking about? What are you talking? Do you want to play football or not? Like, let's cut all this extra stuff out. Are you playing or you're not? Because if I'm sorry, I just feel like this because it still is a bust for him. I don't see no other team he going to. If this man said this, and the Steelers are still waiting on him, Sean, everybody who has a decision who has to do with the roster needs to be fired. I don't care if it's Mike Tomlin. I don't know who the Steelers GM off the top of the head right now.
Omar Khan.
He needs to be fired too. Because you got a player saying this who coming off a bad year, seeing like he's not eager for the opportunity. When you got a team who needs a quarterback, who needs some good leadership, and you waiting on this, no, he got to be fired. It's fired. If at the end of the day, fired. Aaron Rodgers should just retire, hang it up, call it when it's cool, it's over with. If you're questioning right now, if you still want to play, it's over with. Because you see what Tom Brady had to do to get the Bucs the way he wanted to be, where he go to the spring camp, go to the voluntary workouts, go practice with the wide receiver, be a leader. Aaron Rodgers, you're not skilled as you once was. So if you can't be a leader, it's no point in having you on my team because your ability on the field does not match me dealing with you not being a leader. I'm good on that. And I take just Steelers, if you can trade up and go get a Shedeur or draft that dark kid because he's going to be there. That's what they need to do. Go in the direction, draft your quarterback, and move on. Because you messed up and waited too late. Because you could have kept Justin Fields or you could have got Russell Wilson. But Aaron Rodgers is done, Sean. It's done. I'm out. I'm out.
So let me say two things really quickly, SB. First, Bill Parcells had a thing when a player starts talking about retirement, they've already retired. In my view, I think Aaron Rodgers is already retired because of the way he's talking about it. Whether or not he's thinking about playing another year so he can have some sort of farewell tour or whatever, I mean, I don't know. Obviously, that's very relative at this point. But I also want to talk about this from the Steelers' perspective. I would be willing to bet a very small amount of money because I'm not a gambler, but I'd be willing to bet a very small amount of money that the Steelers will not take a quarterback in the first round of this draft, trading up or otherwise. because of what happened with the Kenny Pickett situation. They're still feeling a bit burned by the massive overreach for Kenny Pickett in a draft that just wasn't a strong quarterback draft. It's like him and Malik Willis were like the two top quarterbacks in that draft.
Just like this draft.
Well, I think Cam Ward is
they're not getting Cam Ward.
They're not getting Cam Ward, but I'm saying like there is at least one guy in this draft that I think you say that guy is likely a franchise quarterback. But again, it's 32 different teams making 32 different evaluations. But by all accounts, that's where a lot of teams have him. It's after him where there's major questions about those guys. So I don't think the Steelers, and I think the Steelers know that. I think you wait a year, go into 2026 and say, hey, can we get into Arch Manning sweepstakes if Arch Manning declares for the draft? You know, does Carson Beck have a decent year at Miami where you say, okay, yeah, we think based on what we're seeing on his Miami tape that he's a, franchise quarterback. There are others. If I'm the Steelers, the only thing I'm trying to do at this point is call Atlanta and figure out a way to get Kirk Cousins. That's the only way for me, if you're the Falcons if you're the Steelers to salvage this wreckage of how you have handled this quarterback situation is to do what you got to do to get Kirk Cousins. Because at least with Kirk Cousins, you got him for 1 or 2 more years under contract, and you're not in a position where it's like we got to reach for another quarterback in the draft or we got to go and do the and he's a veteran guy, and if you put the right infrastructure around him, Kirk Cousins can be successful. Whether or not that wins you a playoff game or a Super Bowl is a different conversation. We're just talking about having a competent starting quarterback under center in Pittsburgh for the 2025 season, and to me that should be Kirk Cousins. The last thing on Aaron Rodgers, and I'll just say this really quickly, I think this is why it is very hard to root for Aaron Rodgers at this juncture. Now, I don't know. He didn't go into detail about some of the personal things going on in his life that obviously I think are affecting this decision. And I don't want to speculate on that because I don't know what that is. But if that's the case, and if that seems to be the case, and you're in a position to walk away from football because you have nothing left to play for, you've won a Super Bowl, you won multiple MVPs, you've made $300 million plus playing, why are you still trying to play? So in my view, it just says, just walk away. It's okay. It's okay. Just walk away. And crazy part is if you get the itch later on or in training camp or whatever, and there's an opportunity there for you, then revisit it. But just walk away. This limbo and this, it's like a squirrel in the road with this dude.
No, you ain't wrong.
It's S or get off the pot.
Yeah.
So and that's my whole thing with this guy. So it's like it's just at this point it's even hard to just to root for. Yeah, I'd love to see Aaron Rodgers in the NFL. At this point, I don't care. I know Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre didn't have the greatest relationship when they were together. But this is what Brett Favre basically did for like 3 years. It was like, oh, I'm not sure if I want to play. Yeah, like you're becoming what you hated. Because I don't think Aaron Rodgers particularly liked it because he was wanted to play. So now you've almost become what you hate.
Yep.
In a sense, and it's just go away. Just go away.
Just retire. That's what I said. Just retire and just call it one for me. He's done. It's over. Just give it up. It's over. Let me know what you guys think about that. Should Aaron Rodgers retire, or should the Steelers be all in and get Aaron Rodgers to come back? Sean, we got to talk about the Sacramento Kings, unfortunately. The Sacramento Kings, after a play-in loss to the Dallas Mavericks, has fired GM Monty McNair. And it shows a lot of dysfunction with this organization over the years about what's going on with the Sacramento Kings. But what was your reaction to the firing? Was it justified? How you feel about this?
I feel about this that we don't talk enough about how terrible ownership is, why franchises end up in the predicaments that they end up in more often than not.
Facts.
Vivek Ramaswamy, I believe, is the owner. Ranadive, excuse me, is the owner. He is awful. He is awful.
Yeah, he's bad.
I mean, are he and Matt Ishbia and the owner of the Mavericks, are they competing to be? Can we see who could be the worst owner in the NBA? Because that's literally what is going on right now.
You can add another one.
He is the worst. Yeah. I mean, a couple others that will be in the conversation certainly, but he is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
You mishandled the Mike Brown situation, which again, when you hired Mike Brown, it seemed like, oh, okay, the Kings are trying to be respectable. They want to be a respectable franchise. And then you messed that up. The Aaron Fox situation, that trade.
You messed that up.
The complete botch. You signed DeRozan. Again, DeRozan's a good player. You know DeRozan well, but I was like, where does he fit? And you still don't have a big man next to Sabonis. So, and what does it do to the development of Murray long term? Like it's this.
And the crazy part about it is two things they did, and I got the dying laugh. One, you get rid of one of your best players, not your best player, De'Aaron Fox, to make a version of a team with overpaid old superstars and become a playing team, which you made the Sacramento Bulls. And then two, at the end of the season, the team was complaining and saying the problem with the team is like, we need a point guard. It's almost like you had a franchise point guard, you just traded him for nothing. So you made a roster you made a move in the offseason with DeMar DeRozan, who don't fit the roster that you had. Then you make another move to get another superstar who already shown they don't fit together. And then you don't fill the void of the position of a player that you had as a franchise player. And then you actually draft his replacement if you really want to go further back, and then you trade him away. He goes to Indiana to become a superstar.
And if I'm Sabonis, I'm doing everything in my power. Get me out of here now.
ASAP.
Get me out of here now. This level of this, I mean, it is. A lot of people owe an apology to Boogie Cousins.
Yes, they ruined Boogie.
But this guy, I mean, he is the worst. And then can we just put some icing on the cake here, SB, just real quick? You mentioned getting Bulls West, basically.
Yeah.
You have no point guard. You sign a former number 1 overall pick off the street in Markelle Fultz and barely played him.
I thought that's what he was going to be there for.
Because you didn't have a point guard. And it's like, okay, we need a ball handler, so let's get Markelle Fultz. It's just pure ugliness. And again, there's only 30 head coaching jobs in the NBA. Apparently, they're bringing Scott Perry back to the Kings to be their new GM. Scott Perry's respectable. I think he, will provide some respectability. But it's at a certain point, if it doesn't change at the top, it's going to always be something with this franchise. And if I were a Kings fan, I'd be through it. I'd be like, I got to find another team or just root for no team at all. I can't deal with this. This level of dysfunction. It's terrible.
It said McNair agreed to the divorce due to concerns over losing decision-making power, according to The Athletic, with a verdict on interim coach Doug Christie looming following the Mike Brown dismissal. and questioning about his role in acquiring DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine this season. So all this boils down to is either he wanted to keep Doug or fire Doug, and he's worried about him keep control of his power. Then also questioning his role in getting DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine, making Bulls West when you know that Bulls team didn't work out. Yeah, I'll fire you too. I ain't gonna hold you. I got to get you up out of here. We got to get you up out of here. You put two guys together who clearly show they didn't work at all. So I don't know, Sean. But let us know what you think about. If you had to rate the Sacramento Kings as an organization, 0 being the lowest score. Now we can do 1. I ain't gonna do 0 like that. Like the beam in the comment section and let us know. Sean, we finally got a response for Luka Doncic about him being traded. So let's go ahead and watch this video real quick of Luka talk about the night he was traded.
I thought I would show you the souvenir from that night.
Oh, yeah, he's still there.
You hang up the phone the night you're traded and you threw it.
Yes.
Do you have that phone?
Yeah.
You still use that phone?
Yeah. Still works.
LA Laker Luka Doncic. Does that still sound a little bit weird to you?
A little bit. Not much. I'm getting used to it.
Let's go back to the night that you were traded. Can you just take me through what you did that night?
Well, I was actually in the bed. My TV wasn't working, so I was on iPad watching a movie, about to go to sleep. First thing I said, like probably 3 times, is April 1st.
What were you feeling in that moment?
Sadness, mostly. I was still in shock, like crazy shock. And I felt like my heart was broken, honestly.
I've never seen a player have that type of emotion and then be able to turn around and have the game like you did.
45 for Doncic. Luka Lunacy returns here to Dallas.
Honestly, I don't know either.
Where would you rank that in terms of your all-time performances?
I would say top 1 just because it was so special, with the fans, with teammates, just being there. It was something I never seen in my life, and it was just special, the love between me and the fans.
On your way out of Dallas, some pretty pointed criticisms of you
Yeah,
on the floor,
right here.
off of the floor, even about your body.
I mean, it's painful, depends how you take it. Mostly it came from Dallas, so I just didn't want to talk back. But I don't really read that much stuff, and just trying to focus on my journey.
General manager Nico Harrison of the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, we
He
can
had
talk
this
about this.
closed door, no cameras meeting with reporters. The reporter said, "You didn't believe that the team that went to the finals last year with Luka as a centerpiece could contend and continue to contend for championships." And Nico Harrison said, "I'll say this again, defense wins championships." What do you say to that?
It's just sad in the way he's talking right now. I never say anything bad about him, and I just want to move on. The fans, my ex-teammates.
Luka said he just wants to move on. Sean, it's a lot to take in on this situation. Where you want to start, from the broken phone, from him actually talking about Nico, what he said he wasn't gonna say nothing about Nico. His reaction tonight. Where you want to start on this? And the phone still work. The phone still work, by the way.
Yeah, wherever you want to. Shout out to iPhones. Where you want to start?
I guess we can go to. The phone one first. We can start top to bottom. So obviously he got the evidence of him breaking his phone that night. So obviously Luka was pissed. So what was your reaction to the broken phone situation?
Not surprised at all. Again, particularly because it wasn't something. It wasn't like they were having conversations with him and his team prior to say, "Hey, we're thinking about making a move with you." And again, generally when you have a star at that level, you generally have a conversation with them, or it's the star saying, "Hey, I don't want to be here anymore," things like that. So you can imagine just the emotion of the moment and the shock of the moment.
Yeah.
That's not an unsurprising reaction in my mind.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. I'm shocked. I'm not shocked at all about it. Luka breaking his phone, just coming from the point of, man, just bought a house in Dallas.
He was building a house there.
Building. So we got the exact career that he want. Wife happy, got the career that she want. You living somewhere tax free. Then you go to LA with no crib and the taxes in your check go hit different than what you used to see before that. Oh yeah, I'm mad. And so I don't blame Luka. One for not break one. Well, I mean he can buy another one, but I don't blame him for breaking his phone, being upset about the situation. And people don't realize this when it comes to. And after this, we're gonna go to the next part of the segment. People don't realize that these international players are those type of players where they will actually stay with one franchise. And because you got to think about it, this guy coming from all the way on the other side of the map, he goes to a new location. One, he got to get comfortable just living in America. Two, once he actually get comfortable living in America, he got to get the house of the family. If he got family, kids, get everybody else in order. They don't want to leave because they get used to being where they're at. International players don't. International players are more likely to stay with their one team or want to stay with their one team. And then Luka was at Dallas, so you obviously think like Dallas, you can't just up and get a talent like Luka Doncic like that. So I was expecting him to stay. But then you got the Nico situation, Sean. And Luka, I'm glad Luka attacked the point of them like literally attacking him in every which way. Before we get to the basketball reason why he's tight, let's go to the personal reason, calling him fat, out of shape, worried about his conditioning. They were just bad-mouthing Luka the whole time. And Luka, I think, took the high road, didn't say anything. So what was your reaction to Luka saying that he took the high road? But also looking back at it now after hearing Luka's side of it, how does the Dallas Mavericks look about how bad they was talking about Luka?
I mean, if you're a prospective free agent or franchise level star, would you want to go to Dallas as it's currently constructed with Nico running the front office and Patrick Dumont being the chief operating owner and things of that nature? No, probably not. So it's been a PR nightmare for the Dallas Mavericks for the last 2.5 months since the trade obviously went down. And, who gave them the good idea to say, oh, we just thought, no. And again, we said it before and we'll say it again. A franchise has a right to move on from a player. A player has a right to move on from a franchise. Mm-hmm. That's the business.
It's basketball.
Business is just sports in general. I mean, any sport. If you as a player say, hey, I'm at the end of my contract and I decide, hey, I'm gonna go out here and test the market and see what's out here for me, so be it. By all accounts, and again, Luka ostensibly said, I had no intention of ever leaving Dallas. I wanted to play my entire career in Dallas. Mm-hmm. So
he did.
Which I believe he did. I believe, again, he saw himself in a lot of ways in the same caliber for that franchise as Dirk. And that he would spend his entire career there, and he's not. But the mishandling of this by the Mavericks franchise and organization, just from a PR perspective, is an absolute lesson in this is how you not do this. And so, and again, as I said earlier, SB, the team has the right to move on from a player. If they want to trade a player, that's fine. That's their prerogative. And even if it doesn't make complete sense from a PR perspective, at least from an asset perspective, you can say we got all of these things back from trading this player. And they can't say that at all. And so that's the other part of it. And that's why it looks even worse for Nico and that franchise. So, yeah.
And I want to double back on that point right there. You said, and it is like, I get a headache thinking about this. Like, how do you trade a player, Luka Doncic, and don't have an all-out bidding war, or have a maximized bidding for Luka Doncic. Like, I need everything from you. If I trade a player at Luka Doncic's age and what Luka Doncic has done, you won't have a future to make a team around him. I'm taking everything. I need the franchise. I need limited cards, whatever the best restaurant in your city. I need to get free food for the rest of my days. I need all your picks. I need your young time. I need everything. And they literally got nothing. So in this next 2 years, 3 years, when AD plays his contract out, hopefully it works. Hopefully it's not. Then you also, I think Kyrie Irving's contract is up. What do you have to show for trading Luka Doncic? You have no future. Nothing at all. So it's like, it's still going to haunt this team. It's still going to haunt this team. And that last one, basketball related. Okay, I get it, Nico. Defense wins championships. I agree. But to justify trading your young superstar, and he just got you to the finals, makes no sense to me. Because defense wins championship, right? Steph Curry is one of the best players in the league. Nobody wouldn't put Steph ain't sniffing an all defensive team. So that's not an excuse at all. You don't trade the player who got you there because of defense. That makes no sense. You don't trade a player, oh, he's out of shape, but he's still dropping 30. Triple-double, double-double. And he not even, and it's the point is, it's not even the point that he was like out of shape from the point he was injured. He was injured. He was legitly injured. But you want to blame his injury off him being out of shape. That's not true. That man's led y'all to the finals. It came right back. It was hurt. During the playoff run, he was hurt. He hurt himself again. So, like, miss me with that. But go ahead, Sean, I'm sorry.
Well, and here's the problem with the whole defense thing. The Mavs were literally the number one defense in the league last year for the last, 3 months of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So where's this defense wins championships? Like, it doesn't. That's why, again, and I'm not putting all this on Nico because, again, ownership had to sign off on this. Ownership had to say we're okay with this. So he works for somebody. He works for the Dallas Mavericks. He works at the pleasure of ownership. So it's not all on Nico. But you're the one who's supposed to know basketball.
Allegedly.
You're the one who's supposed to say, hey, this is why we don't need to do this. And again, if we do this, and you say, hey, we got to do this, or you're okay with me doing this, I have got to put it out there so I can get every possible asset
possible
for this guy. That's it. And he didn't. Because, again, I got to believe that 28 other teams would have put together a package to try to get Luka Doncic. Now, whether or not it would have been what they wanted exactly, who knows? But give those teams a chance to put it out there. Now, again, he didn't want to put it out there because, again, you were trying to, keep it on the low. So Shams and the Chris Haynes and those guys of the world don't get wind of it. But I mean, you just look bad. And
yes.
Again, Luka, what I believe for Luka, and I know we got to move on this. What I believe for Luka is, this is Luka's real first time understanding truly this is a business. And I hope Luka, for his sake, and his team is probably advising him to make a great business decision and not sign an extension, because one, your extension is going to be much lower than what you could actually get.
Yep.
But secondly, to go out and test the market and give yourself a chance to be a free agent when you're at this level and at this prime part of your career. I hope they're advising him. I'm not saying that he should leave the Lakers. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying test the market. Allow yourself the chance to do that, because even one of the greatest Lakers of all time tested the market. Now, he ended up re-signing with the Lakers, but he tested the market. And so I hope Luka does the same thing.
I hope Luka does the same thing too. But let us know down below what you guys think about this Luka Doncic situation. Shaw, we gotta talk about this one because Bron. And I know Bron didn't say this, but knowing how Bron got his team set up, ain't nothing being said without him at least knowing about it. So Rich Paul is in the news again, Sean. And Rich Paul believes that you a Heat guy, so you definitely go know about this too. That the Miami Heat was not a big three. Let's see what Rich Paul had to say real quick.
That's not the end all be all. I always love a big two. I don't really love a big three. I don't really. People talk big three, but the big three thing has never really worked. And you say, well, what happened in Miami? That wasn't really a big three. There was three guys that went in the lottery and they did really well individually on their team. So they put up big numbers and had big accomplishments. But when you think about it, Bosh was the ultimate professional. He took a back seat and he played a role in which, because he had such a high IQ and he was such a professional as an individual, his approach to everything is what made that work. When you look in Boston, okay, you can say Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce was a big three. Again, thinking about names, but the way that offense was ran, Rondo's capability during that time, it was a lot different. When you've seen people go for that, it never really worked. And I've had this conversation with several different, owners of teams and having this.
A lot to unpack here, Sean. But LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, claims that the Miami Heat was not a big three. There's more of a big two. So it was a diss to Bosh because Bosh was just the ultimate professional. So it wasn't a big three. And you notice how he was trying to say the Boston Celtics wasn't a big three, but he didn't actually say Boston Celtics was a big three. He just credited Rondo. Rondo ran the offense, so so he's trying to say there was a big four. So we discredited the Heat players, but we boosted up the. I peep what you're doing. But go ahead, Sean. You are the consensus Heat fan, and I know you watch the big three Heat, the Heatles closely. Go ahead. So Sean, that wasn't the big three. What were they? What was the team?
It was a big three.
Mm-hmm.
And more importantly, it was a collective 15.
Mm-hmm.
This has got to be one of the stupidest things I've ever heard someone as close to the game as he is say about the game. But I want to also preface this by saying this feels a bit, for me, SB, like we know who Rich Paul really represents.
Mm-hmm.
We know who he really represents. Either he's got his head so far up Adele's you know what, or Bron's you know what, to say what he just said and to think that it actually makes sense.
It don't.
It makes absolutely zero sense.
Mm-hmm.
It makes zero sense. Let's put big three in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the first, and when we say recognizable big three, in terms of a team has a guy or has two guys and they bring someone to that team, is the late 60s Lakers when they got Wilt Chamberlain and they had Elgin Baylor and Jerry West.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't a big three. Wilt's numbers took a dip because he's on a team that needed him to do something other than what he had done his entire career with the Warriors and the Sixers. But that wasn't a big three.
Mm-hmm.
I give you another example. Earl the Pearl Monroe. in Baltimore, the Bullets. Goes to the New York Knicks with Walt Frazier, with Willis Reed, with a bunch of other great players on that team. That wasn't a big like that's the nature. And here's the other part for me, and this is where I think people talk about when they talk about big three. Often, when you put a big three together, the numbers are going to be different than where you came from because you're in a situation where they're not asking you to be exactly what you were where you came from.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what that particular group or that particular team needs for you to win.
Yep.
And I want to be very careful here because I know there's a lot of stands out here and Bron stands out here. LeBron didn't win jack before he got to Miami.
He did.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact.
Okay. He and Chris Bosh had the same number of rings when they got to Miami, which was 0.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, they both got there and came there for a reason. They wanted to win.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bosh is not someone who's overly bombastic, and because Bosh is not someone who traditionally talks about how great he is, and because Bosh is not someone who has this well-placed team around him who talk about how great he is, he gets diminished when you talk about that Miami situation more than anyone. He's not on television every day. He doesn't have a podcast where he's talking all the time. He didn't have any of that.
Chris Bosh
He didn't have any of that.
Chris Bosh out the way.
So, and at the end of the day, Chris Bosh was on a Hall of Fame track in Toronto. He was on track to make the Hall of Fame in Toronto. He made 5 All-Star teams in 7 years in Toronto. He was 24-10 the last year in Toronto. You think he forgot how to put up 24-10? No.
Before he went to Miami, facts. But the year before he went to Miami, he was coming off a career high in points, a career high in field goal percentage, a career high in 3-point percentage, and a career high rebounds. And the assist was at pretty much the same amount of assists that he always give up. So he literally was having a career year before he decided to go to Miami. That's a fact.
Like what are we talking about? Like this is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And just because you had a title CEO, don't mean you're always right. You sound stupid. He sounds stupid.
It did. What confused me though, Sean, was like, oh yeah, just because you put names together, what are you talking about? The facts and the stats show how they play, and you know that your numbers are not going to look the same if you play with better players. That you got to take a different role. That's common basketball knowledge, and I don't like how Indian LeBron is a part of the problem with this too. Where it's like, why does it seem that this person, who is great as he is, I literally said this, like if you want to argue careers, whatever, cool. Jordan had a better career, Kareem, whatever. I literally said eye test wise, where everybody loved the eye test wise. LeBron James is the greatest player I ever seen touch a basketball eye test wise. That man can literally do everything on the court. It has a GOAT case resume. I had never seen nobody ish on people so much just to make himself look better, or have his team ish on people so much just to big up yourself. Go ahead.
Can I interject there, SB? It's chasing that ghost.
Yes.
The ghost of the guy behind you. The ghost of the other 23, the original 23.
Mm-hmm.
And that thing of, I've got to do whatever I can from a narrative perspective to tell you how great I was. And so one of the ways we can do that is, let me get in the room with with Rich and Mav and Rand, and let's sit around and let's talk about, oh, you know what? That 2016 finals, that was the toughest championship anybody ever won. Ooh, let's put that out there. And because again, that's going to help me in this chasing the ghost, and that he never had to come back from 3-1 in the finals, but not to mention, 2020, that bubble was tough. And, being locked in, that was a tough championship too.
LeBron's so great to be doing this, bro.
Like we're just going to forget that people actually won championships when there was Jim Crow and segregation going on.
Mm-hmm.
And this is part of, and again, I am not a LeBron James hater, but I'm no stan either. But I'm not a stan for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how I get down. There's people I like, there's people I like, and there's people I want to watch, and that's great. But at the end of the day, this need for this validation, and it's just like, and here's the other part for me, and this is where this is what drives me crazy, SB, and this is gonna be a little personal for me. Bear with me for a second.
Okay.
In what world does someone at the level of LeBron James need to step on someone to have a better life?
No reason to. I don't see no reason to at all.
There's not any amount of narrative or talk or any of that stuff that's going to have him have a better life.
Mm-hmm.
So why are we doing this? We're doing this because this is how they get down. This is them trying to control the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is about. And ultimately, it's about how can I make sure that when people talk about me, they put me ahead of that other 23 in particular.
And you don't need to be doing all this. They don't.
It is completely unnecessary. And again, someone like Chris Bosh probably doesn't even care, because at the end of the day, Chris Bosh played 13 years in the NBA. His career got cut short because of blood clots. He would have played much longer at a very high level. And I like to remind people that look at Chris Bosh's numbers 2014, 2015. After LeBron leaves Miami and goes back to Cleveland, they were back to the Toronto numbers. So it wasn't like he forgot how to play.
He played his role.
He played a role. But and let me also say this real quick too. Even superstars play a role.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not out there playing by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have things you have to do to help the team win. That's called playing a role.
And I didn't even like when LeBron was on McAfee, and another thing he did was ish on the old Cavs team. Yeah, you see who I took to the finals. That team wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and this is why people and this is why you get flamed. This is why it is impossible to defend you, because you do it to yourself.
Yeah, I could get us as fans saying something like that, but you can't, especially as the leader of the team, you can't come out and say that you was in the trenches with these guys.
SB, you know who Miles Davis is?
Is it the basketball player?
Miles Davis, the trumpeter, jazz trumpeter.
No.
Considered probably the greatest jazz trumpeter of all time, one of the greatest jazz musicians of all time.
Oh, I'm looking at a picture. No, I know what this is. I definitely know what this is. Looking at the picture of, yes.
You know what you never heard Miles Davis say?
What?
That he's the best to ever pick up a trumpet.
Because when you recognize that you be good. And then the crazy part about it is, basketball wise, I think only two players that I have seen, and if y'all got videos of any other players saying this, please let me know. Like, consistently, I mean, don't you show me one video of Larry Bird or Jordan or Magic saying this at one time. But the only two basketball legends at a point in time when they was either just retiring at they peak was considered the best and consistently say that they better than everybody, I'm the GOAT, their self was Wilt Chamberlain and LeBron is the only people who I seen consistently do this. And they never had a reason to do it, and I don't get why they doing it.
Yeah, I remember there was this Jordan commercial many years ago and I want to say it was after he retired, and he was still, of course, doing commercials. And it was the theme of the commercial was "Let your game speak."
Mm-hmm.
Your game says enough. Why do you have to say it? Why do the people around you have to say it? Your game does this talk. Like you said, SB, plenty of people have said you were one of the best they have ever seen. And for those who grew up in a certain generation, they have said you're the best they've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Keyword on seen.
He the best player I ever seen. Whole career, best player I ever seen play basketball.
So that's all I'm saying. So like this is nonsense. And again, what it shows me, and I'm trying to be very careful here because I don't want to name call, but it shows me you either got a massive ego that just has to be filled constantly, or deep within you got some holes that need to be filled in a different way than basketball will fill. Because at the end of the day, this is unnecessary.
Yeah, clearly, bro, saying to be, and it ain't like, oh, it's Rich who said it, bro. LeBron run a tight ship, bro. If anything being said, he will know about it or know what's going on. Or if anything was said, he green lighted or they done talked about it already. Ain't nobody finna just come out just say no randomly. That's gonna put LeBron in the heat of the light for no reason. He knows. And to be stupid enough to really say the Miami Heat wasn't a big three. You got to be out your mouth. I need to check what's in that cup. I need to check what's in that cigarette. I need to check under your nose because you out your mind if you don't think it was a big three. The same thing they tried to do with Kevin Love. Bro, Kevin Love was an all NBA star player. And then he went to the Cavs. They made a big three with Kyrie, him and Kyrie LeBron. The Heat, by far, a big three. Bosh was outstandingly good. It's not no name that made the Heat a big three. It's off the game and the players that made it a big three. Because what fancy name is that? And then, like I said, when you double back on, when you re-listen to what he said about the Heat situation, he was like, yeah, they had Ray in them, but then they had Rondo really running the plays. You ain't calling them a big two, so what you're trying to say they're a big four? Because even LeBron said out of his mouth the Celtics was the big four. So you ain't gonna discredit them. And who's the Celtics big two? Who's the Celtics big one then? Just because you gotta sacrifice your game does not stop you from being a star. I don't care what they say. But shall we get into these playoff predictions real quick? But let us know what you guys think about that. I think Rich Paul is full of ish when it comes to this, and LeBron got to lock in, bro. I'm sorry, to a point where it's like you said, it feels like an ego or something has to get filled. Like I've never seen a player great as he is try so hard to keep proving to everybody that how great he is, which everybody always acknowledge him that he's great, or also try to issue other players to prove his point of how great he is. Oh yeah, this was the toughest. This I carried these bombs here. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. Imagine he don't say it like that exactly, but it pretty much comes off like that. It does. But let me know what you guys think down below and comment down below. Sean, we got NBA playoff predictions. We gonna go first round only this time. Then when the next series go, we can do the next time and we can recap on our picks to see if we was right or wrong. First up, skip the first half, or then we see the Thunder. Grizzlies versus Mavericks tonight, real quick. Who you got winning tonight?
I'm gonna take the Grizzlies at home. I just think the Grizzlies, gotta get this win at home. So I'm gonna take the Grizzlies at home. Hopefully, Ja is healthy with the ankle. But I'm gonna take the Grizzlies at home.
The Mavericks definitely played good on the next game. I am definitely concerned about Ja, but Ja is gonna have to play. I'm gonna take the Grizzlies at home. I think they get the job done. So we both picked the Grizzlies, X out the Mavericks. Sorry, and especially how Nico did all that. I want to see what you're gonna do now, Nico, when y'all didn't make the playoffs. Because defense wins, whatever. So we're gonna have the Grizzlies versus the OKC Thunder, if that is the series that is set. I think for me personally, I got the Thunder winning no matter who wins out this series. If it's the Mavericks, I honestly got, especially Kyrie, I got the Thunder probably in like 5 games. gentleman sweep most likely. If it's the Grizzlies and Ja's healthy, I can respectfully give the Grizzlies at least 2, maybe. But I'm going to take my prediction for this series. I'm taking the Thunder to beat either team in 5 or 6 games. This team is on a historic run offensively and defensively. Some of the best numbers we have seen a team put up. Usually teams who put up the stats that the Thunder have put up this season has made the finals. And if not have made the finals, won the finals. So I'm taking the Thunder. What you got, Sean?
Yeah, I'm taking the Thunder in this series as well. I'm going to take the Thunder in 6. I just think they'll eventually kind of overwhelm the Grizzlies, particularly, with the Grizzlies without, a couple of their key rotational guys. One thing I think the Thunder have done a good job of is managing the non-SGA minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And what they really have done with those minutes ultimately is kind of put J-Dub and Chet on the floor together when SGA is off the floor. And that has really, I think, helped them to maintain their offensive consistency in that moment. But I think this is a series where, again, I think the Grizzlies, I'm going to give the Grizzlies 2 games again, because I think the Grizzlies are going to be very competitive, particularly if they get, what they need from Desmond Bane and in particular, who can go off in a game or 2 in this series. But I think ultimately just the Thunder's depth and their coaching, I think, wins out. So I'm taking the Thunder in 6.
Cool. Now we got the shocking number 2 Rockets, the young overachievers, versus the number 7 Warriors. Sean went first on the last. I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is a series where it's, kind of experience versus youth. I think one thing I don't want to take away from the Rockets on any level is they are a nasty team in all the right ways. They're athletic. They have bodies, particularly Thompson, that they can throw at Steph Curry. This is not going to be an easy series for the Warriors at all. And my biggest concern with the Rockets in particular is in close games, late in those games, the Warriors just have the advantage because you have Steph Curry and you have Jimmy Butler. Side note, I'm wondering whose antics will be more on display in this series, Dylan Brooks or Draymond Green.
I hope they guard each other. I hope they guard each other the whole series. That'd be fun.
I'm sure they get caught on some switches from time to time, but
I'm waiting on that. That's gonna be hilarious.
Yeah, and then the other thing for me is, the Warriors, when they tend to win series, they tend to have like an unsung guy or a guy who doesn't generally get a lot of praise. To me, in this series, it's got to be Post, their backup big man. He shoots the trail 3 very well. Can he pull Sengun away from the basket defensively some, even though, again, the Rockets are very good defensively. Can he pull Sengun away from the basket, some? And then some of the rotations, I think, will be interesting. How, will the Rockets shorten their rotation and play, 8 guys, or will they kind of stick to, going a little deeper in their bench? And from the Warriors' perspective, again, is it Pod? Is it Buddy Hield? Is it Gary Payton? Who kind of gets those, rotational minutes next to, Steph and Jimmy in particular. So that said, I'm taking the Warriors in this one in 6.
Ooh, you got the Warriors in 6. I definitely agree with you from the point that it will be youth versus experience of this team. The Rockets highly overachieved this year. Still a great young team. They got a lot of great young players, especially that Thompson kid. That Thompson kid is going to be the truth in the league. Ime Udoka has done an outstanding job coaching this team, possibly up for coach of the year this year. I just think the experience in the long term will probably be the Rockets' downfall, especially when the game slows down in the playoff and you don't have that guy that can get you the bucket. Defensively, this team will be outstanding. How good this Rocket team has played, Sean, and the Warriors are a little bit different because of Jimmy. And I know it's going to take them some they've been working to get it together. But I think the series goes 7.
Hmm.
I think the series goes 7. I think this young Rockets team is up. They're gonna run the Warriors out the gym. They're gonna be great defensively. They're gonna make it hard for the Warriors to score, make it hard for Jimmy Butler to score. I just think experience in the long term is gonna get them. So I'm gonna take the Warriors at 7. But I definitely can see this young Rockets team being outstanding defensively because I think Steph Curry is going to have a tough series. They got a lot of different bodies throwing. You got the Thompson kid, you got Dylan Brooks too, also to throw at them. They got people on the bench you can throw at Steph Curry. Then you got people big enough to guard Jimmy Butler. I think for the Warriors, I like the unsung hero in post. I think another unsung hero got to be like Buddy Hield. This series, he got to knock down shots consistently. And also, I think Jimmy is going to have to win this series because it's going to be a down and dirty series. And the Rockets can't just let Steph get off like that. But I'm going to take the Warriors at 7 off experience. Next up on the list, Sean, we got Nuggets versus Clippers. A lot of things going on with the Nuggets. You know, they fired the coach, they fired the GM. The Clippers have got hot at the right time. Kawhi looks healthy. Sure. What you got?
Well, I went first last time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I might shock you on this. First of all, this is another series I got. This series going 7. I got this series going 7. The Clippers have been outstanding so far. The Nuggets still got Jokic. That is the difference maker. I just can't. The Clippers too hot right now. This is the problem for me, honestly. This is why it's 7. It's really a coin toss this series for me. If the Nuggets had Mike Malone, I probably would pick the Nuggets because I can trust the coach. I don't know about this coach yet. You ain't really been in the trenches of the playoff game. You got Jokic. Jokic gonna make you look better than what you is. And then with the Clippers, is Kawhi gonna be able to maintain health this whole time? Because if Kawhi stay healthy this whole series, I got the Clippers at 5. I mean, in 7. I'm sorry, not 5. In 7. The Nuggets coach show he can actually just maintain the rotation, do a good job, and know when to do it. It can either way. I can't go against the best player in the league. I'm gonna say Nuggets in 7. But I really think the Clippers beating them, Sean. I really do. If Kawhi healthy, they got it.
This is going to be, I think, the best series of the first round.
Yes.
On both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Joker's the best player on the planet. I don't think anybody disputes that. Mm-hmm. And I think Jamal Murray, for the most part, has kind of, figured out his Robin role coming back off the hamstring injury. Mm-hmm. Two things that concern me with this particular series for the Nuggets. Again, you mentioned coaching, changing coaches as late as they did. I just don't know if that bodes well for them in this series. I think Joker has largely covered up for a lot of their issues all season. Mm-hmm. But in a series, it's very difficult to do that game to game in a series. Mm-hmm. This Clippers team is peaking at the right time.
Yes.
Kawhi, James Harden, we know that 1-2 punch, which has seemed to work better than I think people probably really thought it would. And then they have, whether people will admit it or not, a high-level, borderline elite big man in Zubac.
Zubac, nice.
Again, his big thing is, he's got to stay out of foul trouble, of course, in this series. But the X factor for me is Norman Powell. And I think Norman Powell is going to be a big problem for the Nuggets in this series, particularly because they're just not very good on the perimeter defensively. And so I'm actually taking the Clippers in this one in 6.
I respect it. I like it.
Yeah, I'm taking the Clippers in 6. And I love the Joker, a big Joker. I love the Joker. But I just think he is not going to be enough against that team who's playing basketball the right way at the right time. And I know we said we're not going to talk about the next round just yet, but I might actually even consider taking the Clippers against OKC in the next round. The Clippers are playing that well to me. Obviously, they got to get out of this round. They're not going to look ahead. But if they do,
Yeah,
and they play the way they're capable of playing, they got a real good chance of getting to the Western Conference Finals, I believe.
Wait, you got the Clippers possibly in the Western Conference Finals. Woo. I'm mad at it though, because I'm not mad at it though. They're playing that good. Next up on the list, Sean, first to number 3, Lakers. And we talking about Luka Doncic and LeBron James today versus Michael Jordan's son, Anthony Edwards. So who you got and why?
This is a tough series for me. I think it's going to be a close series. I think when you have Anthony Edwards plus the way the Minnesota Timberwolves play defense, that's a winning formula against most teams. The question for me, 2 things with the Timberwolves. Number one, can they take advantage of their size advantage enough in this series to legitimately, pull one out? And obviously they got to win at least one on the road, if not more on the road to win in this series. But the Lakers, obviously, with Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves playing at a really high level, the Timberwolves, I think, can manage. They're not going to stop them, but they can manage defensively. But it's their inability to score, particularly in those secondary actions. And also, can they get easy buckets? And they just don't do that enough. And then when we talk about X factors, the X factor in this series for me it's 2 people actually, is Julius Randle. Shooting 34% in the playoffs for your career is not it. He has got to play. He's in a contract year. He's got to play in this series like he's in a contract year. Because I think this series will really be a big determinant of whether or not any team or even the Timberwolves want to pay him, the money that he's looking for. And then Jaden McDaniels. You're one of the best wing defenders in the league. I know obviously if you're the Lakers, you're going to be trying to find those switches to force Gobert out on Luka. But I also expect Naz Reid to play a big factor in this series, particularly he and Randall next to each other. But I'm going to go Lakers in 7. But it's a very tough series for me. I'm going to say Lakers in 7. I think it's going to be a much tougher series than I know people want to be Lakers in 5, and you got that drive, and we ain't alive, and all that other garbage. At the end of the day, when the balls get rolled out, you got to come to play. I think the Timberwolves are going to come ready to play. Chris Finch, while I have my issue with Chris Finch, did show last year he was a pretty good playoff coach. Can he continue that this year? Again, as the underdog, and I think they are embracing the underdog kind of thing a lot in Minnesota. But that said, Lakers in 7.
Lakers in 7 is tough. Ooh-wee. Look, man, you be Edwards. I got one, but man, Lakers in 5, man. Lakers getting these boys up out of here. My only problem coming to play is when the Lakers expose the Rudy Gobert thing, which will happen. And when he become a liability, will Finch have the kahunas enough to bench Rudy Gobert? Because I think in this series, Naz Reid needs to start, and that would be the difference maker. You need a more skilled person at that big position against this team because the Lakers are going to play small. Naz Reid is skilled enough to pass, shoot, attack the basket, score. That will open their lineup much better. Rudy Gobert, there's not going to be that much of help with this team. He's going to get attacked. All-time defender, yes, he gets attacked because he's a liability on the perimeter. He's also a liability on the offense. Because if Rudy Gobert played how he should play against this series, and I think, Ben, you talked about this before, Sean, Rudy Gobert should be at least easily give you 15 to 15 a game. Really, and one of these games this series, he should give you a 20-20 game. And he should easily dominate the boards this series. Easily. Every time I get my offense, I'm dunking every time. Who guarding you? Vando? LeBron at center? Give me the offensive glass. Boom, I'm dunking it every time. But we know Rudy Gobert not built like that. And we know Rudy Gobert not going to play like that, even defensively, be aggressive defensively. I'm taking the Lakers. I think offensively they will be better. Luka Doncic is going to be a problem. Luka Doncic already done exposed this team with Cat by himself. I know it was a different team. So I think the Lakers are going to use Luka at the same point of attack like Dallas did last year against the Timberwolves. Get in a pick and roll, get the switches that you need, and let Luka work. And then the problem with the Timberwolves team is that they got caught up in the mix of like Ant and probably maybe, I'm going to say more of an Ant, but maybe Cat trying to keep up with Luka because Luka going off instead of just sticking to the game plan. So I'm going to go ahead and take Lakers at 5. Next up on the list, we got to go to the East. Hawks Heat, who you got?
Who do you think?
Neither. I hope they just both lose and then they just Cavs automatically goes to the next round.
You gotta get that hate out your heart, SB.
It ain't hate, man. It's emotional passion.
He'd always cook the beef. Just know that. He'd always cooks the beef.
I got the Hawks, so we can move on. You know, I got the Hawks, and if we go to the series, the Cavs. Go ahead.
Can I say just real quick? If you're the Cavaliers, who would you rather play?
Either one, it don't matter.
No. Who would you rather play?
Oh, the Heat. The Heat easy work.
Are you kidding me? After what you saw the other night, you think the Heat's easy work after what you saw the other night?
Easy work. They ain't got nobody. They ain't no Jimmy Butler ain't there. I'd have seen Trae Young play in the playoffs and be a superstar. Do you trust Tyler Hero to do what he did against the Bulls for a consistent series?
It's not about Tyler Hero. It's just about
that's y'all star player.
No, it's not about Tyler Hero. It's just about that team and that coach in a playoff series. I never count them out. I would, if I'm Cleveland, I would much rather play Atlanta. I'd much rather play Atlanta. And
they sweep the Heat if they play the Heat, Sean. I'm sorry.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Swept.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not doing
4
that.
games. I'm telling you.
And
there's no hate about her. I'm just being honest with you. 4 games. Y'all getting swept.
Yeah. We're not doing that. We're not.
Y'all getting one game.
One is one. No, I don't know. To be honest with you, again, the big issue with the Cavs obviously is they had a great regular season. Obviously, their offense was outstanding. DeAndre Hunter was a massive pickup. You and I talked about that during the trade deadline. That was a great pickup for them. But now it's time to put up. And now it's time to prove that the regular season was not a fluke. I picked them to win the series regardless of who they play again. I'm a Heat fan, so obviously I'm going to be rooting for my team. But I think, again, if I'm the Cavs, I'd much rather play the Hawks. Just dealing with the Heat and the way they play in playoff series, the Cavs can leave this series beat up, and against that Heat team. And also keep in mind, the one thing that the Cavs always had the advantage of the Heat over that they don't have anymore was size. With Khalil Ware now starting next to Bam, that is, a better equalizer with the Jared Allen and Evan Mobley matchup. So, for me, the bigger concern for me with the Cavs is actually Darius Garland, because we don't start the other D Mitch, as we call him in Miami, or off night as they call him in the streets. I think he's got to play big minutes either against his cousin Donovan Mitchell, which they're not related, but you understand, and Garland, because those two guys will cook.
What a nickname come from off night? I was confused.
Off night, yes. Whenever he guards guys, they generally have an off night, so that's where it came from.
Oh, okay. It wasn't even a diss to him. Okay, well, I like that.
Yeah, no, listen, I like off night too. Listen, I wish I had known that back in the day. I would have gave somebody that nickname back in the day, but no. That said, Cavs they're just a better, deeper team, and they should win this series. I think if they play the Hawks, I think it's a sweep. I think if the Heat, it's probably a 5-game series.
Okay. I got either team. Reason why I said I don't think y'all got a chance because, like you said, they do got the big bodies, but I feel like y'all don't have the people, the size at the guard position to expose the Cavs. That's a real big problem with the Cavs. The Hawks, I really can see them getting swept too, but I think they can sneak off one. But yeah, but I'm taking the Cavs in 4 against the Hawks. Next up, Sean, Pacers versus Bucks. No possibility of Dame Lillard coming back early. Or do you think how big that would be? Let's start there first.
I mean, anytime you add a Dame to the equation, yeah, it's big. I just don't think it's enough. In all honesty, for me, I'm taking the Pacers in this series as well. I think, again, it's going to be a hard-fought series as it should be.
Yes.
But I just think the Pacers shown they can get up and down. When they get up and down, they are a problem. They are actually a little bit better in the half court this year as well, particularly when Tyrese Maxey is being aggressive, looking more for his shot.
Mm-hmm.
And he's played really well probably since December, for the most part. And so he and Siakam, I think, will be a bit too much for this Bucks team. And again, we can't depend on Dame coming back during this series because, again, I think you have to play. Even though he's been cleared, you still got to be very, very careful because of what he was out with. So, but either way, even if Dame is back, I'm taking the Pacers. I'm actually taking the Pacers in 6. Take the Pacers in 6.
Pacers in 6. For me, I'm looking at the series. This series is going to be great. I'm definitely expecting a great series from Halliburton. If Dame was here to make a difference, Giannis has been playing outstanding, by the way. I just think the Bucks will go gas out. It's going to be too much for Giannis to deal with them on his own. If Dame would have been playing, it might have been a little bit different for me. I'm going to go to Pacers in 6, 7. I'm going to Pacers in 7. I think Giannis is going to stretch the series out longer, how good he has been playing. But I think the Pacers just is going to be a little too much for him. I'm going to go Pacers in 7. Ooh, Magic versus the number 2 defending champ Boston Celtics. Shot in this series, I think I am concerned with Jaylen Brown. I don't know what knee he got ejections in, but he did get ejections in his knees. So hopefully he'll be revving and good to go. I know he's just going to play regardless. But I don't think this Magic team is going to be as easy of an out as a lot of people think. They got a lot of young talent, a lot of big bodies. You got the Palos, Franz Wagner, Cole Anthony, I forgot the other kid, Suggs. They got a lot of different talent and a lot of different bodies to throw at this Celtics team. But I think the experience and the talent of the Celtics will get them in the long term. I got the Celtics in 6. I definitely see the Magic. I really want to say 5, but I can really see the Magic at least sneaking off 1 or 2 games. Even if the Celtics win in 5, it's going to be an ugly 5. It's not going to be they just mop the floor with the Magic. It's going to be a ugly 5 to 6 game series. But I got the Celtics. What about you?
I got the Celtics in 4.5. I think the Magic are the worst offensive team in the playoffs. They go through they just can't score. And against that Celtics team, with the way they shoot the ball, the 3 in particular, a couple of these games could be 30-point games, and it wouldn't shock me. I think the Celtics are just that good. Now, the question for the Celtics for me is, what Drew Holiday are they getting? Because he hasn't really been Drew Holiday all season. And so, what Drew Holiday are they getting? This is the one series I don't think anybody's picking the Magic to win this series at all. And again, it's not that they can't make a couple of those games close, but if they lose by 3 or they lose by 30, neither outcome would shock me, just because of the Celtics. And also I know, the Magic did, they dealt with some injuries with Paolo out and obviously Franz out for extended stretches of the season. But their offense is just bad. It's hard to watch, and it's hard to think that they can outscore the Celtics in 1 game, let alone 2. So I'm taking the Celtics. I think it'll be a sweep, but if the Celtics, just to be kind, I'll say Celtics in 5.
If I get respect for that. Now, as teams worried about getting certain players, KD, hey, like that's the team you need to look into, or you need a guard that can set up plays for. That's the teams need to be looking into. That they need scoring or they need help on the offensive side. Last but not least, series Knicks versus Pistons. I think this series finna get ugly, Sean. Who you got and why? And how many texts and ejections you gonna see this series?
Well, I think if there are any ejections or texts, it best will belong to Isaiah Stewart. The Pistons. I wish the Pistons were fully healthy. Like I wish they had Jaden Ivey because I think that would make it a much more interesting series. And I would actually be inclined to probably pick them to win the series if they had Jaden Ivey. They don't. They've been able to kind of piecemeal it together with Schroeder and Malik Beasley playing really well and really solid for them. But this is Cade's first bite at the apple, no pun intended. In terms of the playoffs.
That was a bar, by the way. I liked it. That was a bar, by the way. I liked it.
Appreciate that. I just think the Knicks' experience will prevail for them. But also, I expect the Pistons to be up in them defensively to try to wear those guys down, knowing how your coach, your favorite coach in Bulls history, Tom Thibodeau, loves to run those starters and in his rotation into the ground game after game. I think Sir Thompson can, again, he can give Brunson some problems as well. And again, for me, this is why you brought Cat in to take the pressure off of Brunson and to be, the star that he is by all accounts. And what will they get from OG in this series? What will they get from Mikal Bridges? Those things are questions for me. That said, I'm going to take the Knicks in 7. I think it's going to be a very tough series. And I will say, if for some reason the Knicks lose this series.
Yes. I know what you're going to say. Yes, he has to go.
I think we're going to see a coaching change in New York.
And a lot of coaches available right now, so that's all I said is going to happen.
Yeah.
I think this series is going to be a lot closer than a lot of people think. I do agree with you with the point that if Jaden Ivey was healthy, you really, really, really will have to consider the Knicks losing this series. And it's still a possibility of them losing this series now. Because if this Detroit Pistons, young Detroit Pistons team come punk the Knicks out and win this series is possible. We didn't see the Knicks look outstanding. At one point in time, Cat was in the MVP conversation this season. But then we also seen the dark side of this team where they couldn't execute wins, close wins, self-wins. And I hate that it feels like this team is coming off as soft because it's always seemed like it's an attack towards Cat, which is not necessarily 100% always fair to Cat, but this team does come off as soft sometimes. And also this team comes off as very fatigued sometimes. So is this team not ran to the ground before the playoffs even start? We go find out and see. But I think this Detroit Pistons team, which is great defensively, tough young team, got a bright future. I just think the time is not yet now with this young team. I think the Knicks win because they're going to be better offensively. And the Detroit Pistons won't be able to consistently execute on their side, on their end. But I think I got the Knicks. I got the Knicks in 6. Last but not least, Sean, I'm done with this. I'm letting you know right now, I'm not watching this. I will not be. My TV will not be turned to this. I definitely would not pay for it, Sam. I definitely wouldn't even go on the websites to watch it, Sam. I won't even watch somebody else's live stream to watch. I do not want to see Jake Paul fight another senior citizen again. It's like I feel like Dr. Seuss. No, I don't like green eggs and ham, man. And this ain't the end of the book where you actually like it. No, I don't. I'm tired of watching this. I'm not gonna watch it. Why are you fighting, man? This man for to be pushing 50, 40, 50, whatever how old he is. Why are you fighting this man? Can we stop? I'm done. I'm not watching this shot. He not finessing me no more. You got us with the Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson went off script a little bit in the beginning of the fight. You made him locked in, and the fight looked fake. And you just finessed for some money. Yeah, you're not getting me no more. I'm done. Shot. What about you? How you feel about this Jake Paul fight?
Oh, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. What happened to the sport I used to love? This ain't it. This ain't it. And I will say we didn't talk about it, but the fight last week, Boots put work in. Boots Ennis put work in.
Who did Boots fight?
What I can't remember how to pronounce the guy's name. It was people thought it was gonna be a better fight, and Boots was like, "No, I'm about to show y'all what I'm about." He put a beating on that dude. He was just a technician, just wearing him out. That said, no, this sucks for boxing. Again, these type of fights don't do anything except just kind of prove where boxing is overall as a sport, and it stinks. Again, like you, I will not be watching this at all, because again, what are we doing? What are we doing with the sport?
It's over. Khalil, we did you, man. What's going on with boxing? Boxing is dead, man. Sean, episode 59. Who got?
I got two guys actually. I got Jack Ham, Steelers Steel Curtain, and London Fletcher.
Oh yeah, and I have to agree with you. I also have London Fletcher, who should be a Hall of Famer.
Yes, he should.
Let's stop playing. Make London Fletcher a Hall of Famer. That's another great episode of Real Takes on Faith Based with SB and Sean Webb. And we will see you guys on the next.
SB, can I say one thing real quick? I'm sorry, just real quick. Just want to say, everything happened yesterday on Florida State's campus. While I'm rocking the Florida State gear today, just prayers to, everyone, all the students and all the faculty and staff on that campus yesterday, who, had to be, worry about their lives and their livelihood because of the active shooting on campus yesterday. My nephew is at Florida State as a student. One of my close friends' sons is there as a student as well, and so they're both fine. They're okay. But it's just the fact that we still have to deal with this kind of nonsense going on is very concerning. And I hope at some point we see more action and not just the thoughts and the prayers and the well wishes. We need some serious action because this stuff is gotten old. It's way past time to be done with these active shootings in this country. And so I just wanted to say that really quickly.
No, I appreciate it. I didn't realize that was Florida State because I did hear about it. I didn't do my research and look into it when I heard about the situation, but that is kind of sad. Anybody was hurt or no?
Yeah, there were two people killed. I don't know if they were students. I think one was a faculty person. 2 were killed and 6 were injured in the shooting.
That's sad. Prayers to victim families, to the victims of this, and prayers to anybody who went through this. We got to stop this, man. Did the guy get caught at least, or?
Yes, they did catch.
Good. Yeah, we got to. I think it's crazy part about it is I know we do the sports talk stuff, and we were just talking about we got to use people for example, how to use nigga. I think it's getting to a point when it comes to this particular thing, especially in schools, we got to make an example out of somebody. We gotta stop this. It's becoming too frequent. I don't live a long life. I'm in my 30s. I feel like, and I'm from the rural, what I'm saying, the hood type of neighborhood. I didn't want to say hood, but whatever. And so we just deal with stuff like, things happen, people live in the streets. But it's disturbing mentally and shocking to how many school shootings have happened in my lifetime. I'm from the hood. People get shot all the time, bro. I feel like school shootings is becoming frequent, like gang activities. I think for it to happen as much as it is, that's a problem. I'm sorry, it's just a problem. But prayers to the family and everybody in that situation. it just messed me up. But yeah, it's been a great episode. Real Takes on Fake Debates. SB, Sean Webb, and we will see you guys on the next one. Peace out. We are out here, Sean.
Real takes over fake